Seri is found hiding in Junghyuk's kimchi cellar by Chulkang, who marches her out to the street while pointing a gun at her. Luckily, Junghyuk was warned that something was wrong and borrowed Colonel Go's car, so he shows up at home just in time. He tells Chulkang that Seri is his fiancée and tells him to put the gun away. Chulkang lowers his weapon and Junghyuk pulls Seri to stand beside him. Chulkang asks to see Seri's ID and her pass to enter the front line, so Junghyuk quickly thinks of an excuse. He says that Seri is part of Division 11, a group of spies based in South Korea whose work and names are top secret. He says that Seri is very tired and needs to rest, and Seri leans against him at the perfect moment. Chulkang stares at them, clearly not believing the story, but he has no choice but to let Seri go with Junghyuk. When they're alone, Junghyuk says sorry to Seri, but she thanks him for arriving at the right time and coming up with a believable excuse so quickly. In a soft voice, Junghyuk asks if Seri is hurt, and the way he looks at her makes Seri feel a little shaken. His concern feels more real than she expected from someone she barely knows. He explains about Division 11, which handles secret agents who live in South Korea with their families. Seri is shocked that Junghyuk basically told everyone in the village she's a spy, but he says it was the only way to explain her looks and accent, and she's leaving the next night anyway. They hear voices outside and see the village wives at the gate. They've brought food, saying it's for Junghyuk's return, but clearly, they want to know more about Seri. They try to get inside by offering to carry the food, but Seri appears and takes it from them. The women proudly ask Seri many questions about Division 11, but she seems to enjoy acting mysterious and says she's not allowed to tell them anything. Seri notices how easily curiosity replaces suspicion in the eyes of strangers. After the gate is shut, Seri and Junghyuk hear the women whispering that they don't seem to love each other and must have had an arranged marriage. Back inside, Seri asks Junghyuk what he will say when she's gone and people ask about her. Junghyuk says he doesn't think people will talk about his private life, but Seri reminds him that the wives clearly will. She tells him to say she broke up with him because their personalities clashed, and not to date anyone for 6 months so it sounds more real. At bedtime, Seri asks Junghyuk through the wall if he's ever visited Switzerland. She says she saw his music books and the concert flyer, which reminds Junghyuk of the time he played piano in Switzerland. She proudly says she plays piano well because she can perform for Elise without music sheets. Junghyuk looks down at his hands but doesn't answer. His silence speaks volumes, holding back years of pain and memories. A stylish woman named Esiodin gets off the same plane as Seungjun at Pyongyang airport, and when their bags bump into each other, Seungjun is amazed by her beauty. Dan is picked up by her uncle, Colonel Go, who is a friend of Junghyuk's family. In the parking lot, she asks where his special car is. He says he lent it to Junghyuk, and Dan gives a thoughtful look. She says she'll go to Junghyuk's village to get it herself after her music show tomorrow. Colonel Go is surprised, but Dan says she should visit Junghyuk anyway, since he's her fiancé. Meanwhile, some thieves steal the windshield wipers from the car that CEO Jeon sent to pick up Seungjun. Seungjun throws a big fit, angry that he has to travel in unsafe conditions after paying so much money. Chulkan enters a hidden government room that looks like a coal mine and heads to the room where calls are secretly listened to. He takes the man in charge, Manbok, to a private area and tells him that Ri Muhyuk's brother, Junghyuk, works at the outpost. Manbok is clearly shocked. Chulkang tells Manbok to listen to Junghyuk's home, but to be careful because Junghyuk is smart. Manbok mentions a new type of microphone that can hear everything outside the house. Chulkang says to find out anything about the woman claiming to be from Division 11, believing that one small detail can bring down Junghyuk's whole family. Manbok looks worried, but Chulkang tempts him with a possible job promotion and help for his son to enter a good college. Manbok remembers a moment from 7 years ago when he listened to a talk between Muhyuk and another soldier in a car. Muhyuk had spoken about his younger brother, a piano genius. He said his brother always felt bad that Muhyuk had to give up piano to follow their father's military path, but Muhyuk didn't mind since Junghyuk was far better. He had looked forward to hearing a song Junghyuk wrote for him, but their vehicle was hit by a Russian Kamach truck, killing Muhyuk. Manbok had heard it all and was left shaking and crying. That night marked the beginning of Manbok's deep guilt, something he never shared. In the morning, curious villagers stand around Junghyuk's front gate, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious fiancé. Junghyuk wants Seri to stay inside, but she says it's better if people see her. Junghyuk gives in, but first he ties Seri's hair with a handkerchief, saying only strange women walk around with their hair down here. They step outside, and Seri fusses over Junghyuk, putting on a show for the villagers. She makes him touch her hair to prove they're in love, teasing that she might marry him for real when he hesitates. He goes along with it, cringing like the villagers at her awful acting, then finally escapes. The village wives gather to make kimchi and complain about Seri. Mayingsuk, Manbok's wife, doesn't see why they dislike her, and they all give her annoyed looks. A couple of them go to ask Seri to join, but she refuses, saying she doesn't like kimchi. Her rejection adds fuel to their growing envy. During morning training, Junghyuk gathers his team to talk about plans for Seri. He tells them he had to say she's his fiancée. Jomok says he's seen this in South Korean dramas where the couple always kiss to escape danger, then spend the night together. Everyone stares at Junghyuk, and Kwangbum asks if that's why he didn't return to sleep at the barracks. Junghyuk says they slept in separate rooms, but Jomok says in dramas, the fake couple always falls in love. Junghyuk quietly hits his leg, annoyed that Jomok watches too many dramas. Junghyuk returns to the task at hand, making sure a boat is ready to take Seri to international waters. Chisu says it will cost a phone card worth 20,000 won. They set the time and place, then Junghyuk sends the team to fix things at his home and keep villagers away from Seri. One of Manbok's men, pretending to fix phones, tells him that the team arrived at Junghyuk's place. Manbok listens as Seri greets them, then tells his man to set up the microphone. He hears Jomok arguing with Seri about drama characters, but to Manbok, it sounds like they're talking about real spies. Meanwhile, Junghyuk goes to the site where the grave robbers died. A soldier there tells him that 3 empty Kamach trucks kept driving by that night, with strange, heavy metal on their bumpers. He says the woman who died was a trader heading to Kaesong, so Junghyuk guesses she saw what happened. This detail sparks something in Junghyuk. He starts piecing things together. Chulkang visits Seungjun at his new house. Seungjun won't shake hands and starts complaining about the windshield wipers. Chulkang warns that he could easily sell Seungjun's location to enemies from South Korea. Seungjun quickly changes his mood and offers a handshake. In Seoul, Seri's brother Sehaeng still has people searching for Seungjun, but they are always too late. His wife Sanga tells him to check where Seungjun would never go, so he sends someone to look in Shenyang, where Seungjun often works. They go to Chairman Yu's home with Sejo, On and Haeji to talk about Seri being missing. Every time Sehang tries to make a point, Sejun finishes his sentence to look smarter. They suggest not announcing Seri as the next company leader to avoid stock problems and instead pick one of them. They argue over who should be chosen, with their wives pushing them on. Sejun brings up the 100 billion won Sehang lost to Seungjun, and Sanga says they should sell Seri's company, Seri's Choice, to make up the money. Seri's assistant, Secretary Hong, is approached by Suchan, who sold her life insurance before she went missing. Suchan looks tired and nervous about the big payout if she's dead, and he's desperate to find her alive, but Secretary Hong is starting to lose hope and doesn't want to talk about it. While the team works on Junghyuk's water system, a little boy steals a jacket. They catch him, and Seri finds a bag of old food the boy dropped. He says he found it for his sister, who hasn't eaten in 3 days. Though the men disagree, Seri goes back home and packs food and supplies for the boy. Junghyuk returns, and Chisu tattles that Seri is giving away his food to a liar, but Junghyuk just tells the boy to wash up before eating. Manbok listens through his device and smiles warmly at their kindness. The boy returns to his little sister in their empty shelter and gives her the food from Seri. Since she's leaving that night, Seri holds a fun award ceremony for the team. She gives Yundong the kindness award and lets him pick a prize, 100 million won after reunification or corn now. He wisely chooses the corn and ends up sharing it with Junghyuk. Next, Seri gives Jomok an award for loving Korean dramas. His prize is either lunch with Choi Ji-woo later or Junghyuk's TV Now. Junghyuk complains, but Seri tells him to trust her. Jomok happily chooses lunch with Choi Ji-woo. Junghyuk begins to look annoyed that he hasn't gotten anything. When Seri gives Kwangbum an award for being the best looking, Junghyuk sulks. Chisu is upset, so Seri gives him the beauty products Junghyuk bought but she didn't use. After ending the ceremony, Junghyuk storms out, so Seri follows to show him a gift, a tomato plant she traded for using his potatoes. He's shocked she used his own food to buy him something he doesn't even like, but Seri says to treat it like a pet and say kind words to it. Manbok calls Chulkang and says Junghyuk's fiancé seems a bit strange, talking to plants, but hasn't done anything odd. The team sits outside eating Yundong's corn and looking at the stars. Each one, in their own way, admits they'll miss Seri. Junghyuk drives Seri to the dock. On the way, she removes the handkerchief from her hair and gives it back to him, saying it's strange she can travel anywhere in the world but never return here to see him. She says, "It's a shame you live here," and he replies, "It's a shame you live there." Junghyuk tells the captain he's going with them until Seri is transferred and even brought a phone card to pay. On the water, Seri says it feels like she's been gone a long time. Junghyuk says it must feel the same for people waiting for her. A second feels like forever when you don't know if a loved one is alive. Seri sadly says she's not sure that's true. To lighten the mood, Junghyuk tells her not to say she's good at piano just because she can play for Elise. She thanks him by telling him her name, and he shares his name too. They laugh when they realize her family is from the north and his from the south. Suddenly, a siren blares, and they hide in the boat's storage room to avoid the coast guard. The new officer refuses the captain's bribe and orders a search. Seri panics, and Jung-hyuk says he knows what works in Korean dramas. Seri says, "Shut up and do it," so he tells her to look only at him. As the door opens, Jung-hyuk kisses Seri.